This goes out to all the women in the world, especially her. You know it don't even matter your age, don't even matter your color. Yo fellas, I ain't forget about y'all. This is for everybody that like the things. Just listen to what I'm saying and do it and take a chance. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put yours, then I put mine. Then we can dip down low and roll it grind. Just get on the floor like I said before. Y'all remember that down low? Just put a little dip with it. Now roll those hips with it. Pop it, push it, rock it, roll it. Can't control it, I come hold it. It's all in fun, so take a chance. Just get on the floor and do that dance, y'all. I know you like it, so don't try to fight it. Turn around, baby, let me see you from the back. Yeah, I like it like that. Get up now, roll those hips. Drop down, double up on those dips. Freak nasty, wanna see, can y'all do it right? I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put yours, then I put mine. Then we can dip down low and roll it grind. Back again with the second verse. It's all clean, so I'm not gonna curse. Drop the bass like a bad habit. Love all women, cause I gotta have it. Coming at y'all in stereo. I'm riding that thing like a rodeo. Hang on, baby, cause the ride is rough, and I got my girls in the front. Now and later, just bumping that rump. Raise it up, let me see that ground. Slap it, girl, make it jiggle around. Round and round that rump goes. Where it stop, yo, no one knows, yeah. Freak nasty, wanna see, can y'all do this right? I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put yours, then I put mine. Then we can dip down low and roll it grind.
Well, all right, y'all. All right, y'all. If you ain't dipping, you must be tripping. If you ain't doing it down low, gots to go. Gots to go. So the people that moving slow, just dance slow. Yo, DJ, pump it up some more.
It's off to the show in a limo. Before the show, I gotta get that dough. Pay them girls what they worth. Slip that money under that skirt. Take it off, baby, let me see. You might get a little more Lucci. G-string, having oh so much fun. Playing inside between them buns. Shorty got it going on like Marvin. Teasing me and she know I'm starving. Lick you up, then lick you down. I ain't finished, girl, turn around. Lick you up and down your back, cause I'm that freak, I'm freaky like that. Freak nasty, wanna see, can y'all do this right? I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put yours, then I put mine. Then we can dip down low and roll it grind. I'm setting it off to another level. You digging freak nasty without a shovel. This is my world, I'm just a squirrel trying to get a nut. So what's up, yo DJ? When the party's getting slow, join this jam and watch that flow get taken over like a 94. When I had the whole world getting down low. New Orleans born, ATL living. Freak nasty is what I'm giving. My juice is sweet like Georgia peaches. Women suck it up like leeches. It feels so good, you must admit you like this. Shh, yeah, y'all know the song. So come on, won't you sing it? I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. You put your hand up on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. I put my hand up on your hip. When I dip,
All right, chat. How we all doing? How we all doing? I didn't have my mic on. I hope I wasn't talking to myself. I do that sometimes because I'm kind of insane. Oh, how's everybody doing? How's their Sunday evening going? Oh, Forney sent me. Apparently, Razorfist does Bible studies or something on his Twitter every Sunday now, which is something. It's something, all right. I don't know. I mean, he is quite the grifter, but I do hate calling that kind of thing a grift because it's like part of me doesn't want to judge that kind of thing, but then it's like, obviously Christianity is a pretty popular skin suit on this corner of the internet. He did go actual real Christian and not Catholic, which is kind of indicating that maybe it's not a grift. I don't know. I don't know, Chad. I feel like maybe a repentant man would have taken a little responsibility for the whole Eve fiasco, or at the very least, not threatened to sue people who talk about it. How dare you point out the thing I did? You, whatever. Whatever. I don't know. I feel like maybe if I was doing a Bible study, I wouldn't go by my goofy razor fist character. Maybe you just use your actual name for that. I don't know. What do I know? Nobody watches this channel, so who am I to critique anybody else, really? You get right down to it. I'm a massive fuck up, so who am I to critique anybody else? Let's see. We got John Steele with us tonight. How you doing, John?
Hey, good, Chris. By the way, how you feeling? You were under the weather a couple of days ago.
Oh, just I had a bad migraine on Friday. I get them sometimes. You know, it's funny. I actually I looked into there was some trial for medicine a few years back, and they were like, "Do you have severe migraines? You could qualify for the study." I'm like, "Yeah, I get severe migraines." And I looked at their definition of severe migraines, and it was lasting 4 hours at a time, 15 times a month. And I thought, okay, well, I'm not nearly that. Like, I get really bad ones, maybe count on one hand the amount of time in a year it happens to me. You know what I mean? And I'm like, if it was 4 hours a day, literally every other day, I would probably eat a gun.
No, I actually had an acquaintance of mine that
I can't imagine it. You couldn't do anything. You couldn't hold down a job. Like, it's nothing.
Well, like I said, it was a friend of mine I knew that got, I don't know exactly how often he got, but it was regularly. Like, in other words, there would never be a week pass where he didn't get one. But he had a drug that it was kind of like, like an EpiPen where you can like stab it into your thigh or something like that. And it was not epinephrine, but it was some migraine drug, to anti-migraine drug. And he had this and he would use that. But at the time it was a new drug. This is going back to the mid-aughts when he told me about it. So he only got, his insurance would only pay for 2 a month. And he got migraines maybe couple times a week. So I'm pretty sure this guy was addicted to was it Percocet or what's the other one? Because he used to pop those like fucking M&Ms, man.
I most of the time just a simple Excedrin. Like if I feel it coming on, most of the time just an Excedrin knocks it down.
Yeah, he said that if he took it like right at when he could first kind of feel it coming on, he had like a cocktail of ibuprofen and acetaminophen, like 2 ibuprofen, 1 acetaminophen, and he said if he took it like in time, it would stop it from going to a full migraine and just be like a dull ache. You know what I mean? And so I never had, I remember once having one really severe headache in my life, but from what I understanding, that's not like a migraine, because when I say a migraine, like you can't even have the lights on. And like,
yeah, you're very sensitive to light, also sound and smell, but particularly light. And it's usually concentrated on one side.
Yeah, I know what happens though. You know what a migraine literally is inside your brain?
Just blood vessel problem, I would imagine.
Yeah. So what happens is that, because I was curious about it, so I looked it up. It's basically the blood vessels in your brain constrict and then they open up again. And that's what causes the pain, is when the restriction is released. So, that's what I read. And this was like many years ago, but that's my understanding of them. And there's a genetic component to it. They tend to run in families.
Yeah, I think my mother had them, but it's so hard to tell because she was generally full of shit and a bit of a hypochondriac. So I don't, it's kind of hard to tell just what she did have, but she said she had them.
Well, maybe they're more common in women.
She might have been. Just not everything a liar says is a lie.
Yeah, it's true too. So what? So you had some negative comments to say about Irish people or something? What was this about you saying?
I didn't have nothing to say about Irish people. I'm going to go to Ireland one day, try and find a wife. I love them redheads.
No, I was just teasing because of all the shit that's happened in Belfast.
Oh, I've heard little bits of that. I mean, being here in the States, I mostly just get, people bitching about Trump having the UFC and stuff like that. And the Carmelo Anthony verdict, everybody been talking about that.
Oh yeah. Dude, like that was totally. You know who I was talking to recently? I hadn't talked to him like almost 2 years. British James. I just talked to him the other night, and he had followed that case a little bit, and so we were just bullshitting about it. And like the thing about that case was, it was the facts of the actual facts of the case were totally open and shut.
Yeah, there was not a single mitigating factor in this.
No, not one. I mean, there was no, like, there was absolutely no defense that this guy had, and they just tried to turn in like this like racist thing, but there was zero evidence of that they could present a trial of that. That's why he got like 35 years, which he was 17 when he did it, but he was charged as an adult, so he got I don't know if that's the max. Well, I don't think they give.
I don't know. I would think that you could get more for that, but
no, not if you're under 18.
Okay, I guess that's what it is. Because I mean, that's just like, again, no mitigate. Like, I saw that one fat shiboon out there, like, what do I tell my kids? And I was like, well, let me help you out here. Maybe tell them to don't stab people. You can do that. And then if you have to stab somebody, and I'm not saying you should, but if you have to, maybe not in broad daylight in front of several witnesses. Like, what are you doing?
And tell your kids not to bring knives to track meets. Just.
I mean,
isn't that what it was?
Like, it's a fight that got out of hand. Like, they were beating the shit out of each other, and you just accidentally knock somebody in the temple or something. You know what I mean? There's no mitigating factors here whatsoever. No,
I mean, he just stabbed the fucking guy right in the heart, man.
It's just like, hey, could you move, please? I'll stab you. Like, this isn't. There's no universe where this is a reasonable response.
And the way they acted, like, so shocked that he was convicted, I'm like, look at the facts. I mean, everybody saw it. He went over to the like the tent or whatever you call it, like where the other team was. Like, he initiated everything. Like, he,
Yeah, like I said, there's not a bit of mitigating factors. I mean,
no.
Honestly, this is honestly the kind of thing where you should just put this person down like a rabid animal. Like, if ever there was a case for the death penalty, I know they were a minor.
No, because he was 17, so that's why.
I know. I'm just saying, just what should happen is like, this person just, you take them out back, you tell them about the rabbits, because this isn't even all right. There's no saving this. All right.
Tell me about the rabbits.
Yeah, just enough. Like, you can't deal with this. This is a rabbit dog, and you got to put it down.
Yeah, no, I mean, part of me agrees with that. The only mitigating factor is that one, he came from like a total fucked. Oh, here's another thing. I don't know if you know about this. His parents didn't even stay for the sentencing.
No, like, they didn't give a fuck. They got the GoFundMe and they cashed out. They didn't even pay for a good lawyer. Not that, in all fairness, I don't know what any lawyer was expected to do with this. But like,
no, a good lawyer could have come up with some. I mean, this lawyer
but it was still like, that's the kind of thing where a good lawyer's head in this case, he goes, fuck.
Well, I think a good lawyer could have like somehow argued the case in such a way that he would have gotten it down to like maybe 25 years. So this kid could still have a life.
I would think a good lawyer would just try their damnedest to just get this kid to plea out.
Yeah.
So like, look, you're fucked. Just so you know, you're fucked. But I could make you less fucked. Okay.
Yeah. I think the DA would have accepted. The DA probably would have accepted like 20 years.
As the justice system bends you over, I can get you some lube. That's about the best I can do for you here, bud.
Well, because of his age, and like the lawyer could have like, if it was a lawyer, because like high price lawyers, they have relationships with the DA's office. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they could say, all right, look, we don't need a trial. This is a racially charged case. You don't want any bad press. How about he pleads guilty, 20 years, he's out in 12 or whatever it is to that, no trial, and he'll what do you call that when you have to admit your guilt? They have to stand up and admit so he has to go through that humiliation, accept the deal. And then when he gets out, he'll still be young enough that he could have some sort of life. Now he's going away for 35 years. By the time he gets out, even though he's not going to be necessarily an old man, he's going to be a man that can't will never be able to fit into society, and he's going to know nothing other than prison life.
I mean, based on this kid's attitude, I don't know how long he survives in prison. For the simple fact that, like, I don't, unless you're a particularly bad motherfucker, I don't think this kind of attitude serves you well in prison. Constantly escalating everything beyond all measure.
Well, I think he's going to go. I don't know how they do it in Texas, but I know in a lot of times they have a prison that segregates under 20, like from 18 to 21. There's separate wings, and then from 21 on up, it's So I don't know how they do it in Texas, though.
I don't know. I couldn't tell.
But there's a lot of sociopaths in fucking prison, dude. That.
Yeah, but some of them are like, I don't know, a little smarter than him. Like, this just feels like somebody that just escalates everything well beyond, like, to a point where it's like you're gonna get yourself killed.
Yeah, I mean, it's not looking good for him. Yeah, but look, man, this guy. He took an innocent life, man. He deserves to be punished.
Oh, I don't feel bad for him. No, fuck him. Again, if it were up to me, we'd be, 35 years. I'd sentence him to 35 days with no food and water. Let nature take its course. Like, in fact, you know what? I would leave the knife in the cell with him, and I'd say, when you're ready, go ahead and check out.
Yeah, that was like
we're not bringing you food and water.
Yeah, that was like what Hitler did to Rommel, where they were like they locked him up. After what was it? I don't know. It's when the SS killed all the SA, and they arrested Rommel and they put him in prison, and they left him with like a Luger, 9mm laser. So they were like, save us the trouble,
That's how we should execute people. I honest to God, I'm like, you know what? Here's a Bible. Here's some time alone. Make your peace with God. Here's a cyanide capsule. We're not bringing you anything else. So when you're ready, you do it. All right.
Well, I do think you should get a last meal. I sincerely believe that.
I'm a firm believer in the last meal, actually. In fact, I don't think they go far. It was in a movie, and I looked it up, and it's true. Most prisons, it's got to be like what the commissary has and shit, and it's like super restrictive, and it's like it's got to be someplace that would deliver, but prisons are usually in the middle of nowhere and that kind of stuff. And I'm just sort of like, nah, man, bring him a last meal. If he tells you to bring him Outback, have somebody bring him some fucking Outback. You know what I mean? Like, just do it. You're killing the guy. Give him whatever kind of steak he wants. Like, I'm all for that.
No, exactly. Like, I agree with you.
Let's not skimp on the last meal thing.
Of
all the things to save money on, I feel like that's low on the list of priorities. I don't think the federal government's bleeding out because of last meals.
Yeah, give him like a steak and a potato, maybe a veggie on the side. I don't know.
Whatever he wants, man. It's like,
beer, maybe,
You want to just drink a fucking, bucket full of milkshake. Fine, go ahead. Whatever you want. What are you concerned about your figure?
Well, you know what? It's funny you said that. You know what? Timothy McVeigh's last meal was a thing of ice cream, like a pint of ice cream.
Yeah, why not?
No, and he only could get what it's exactly what you just said. This was back, I don't know, like 20, 25 years ago. They would only, but it was like $25. He was limited, but that's when $25 was actually $25. I'm going back a quarter of a century. They would deliver from the little corner store near there, anything that he wanted from there up to $25. And he had been like preparing, he knew exactly the date of his execution, and he knew there would be no stay. So, he had been preparing for it. So he just wanted to eat something that was sweet. And, I think he had been fasting. So he just, ate that.
Somebody made the joke about eating a bunch of raw popcorn kernels. So as you get the cherry,
I don't think it works like that, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if that would work. It's like, I want to eat something that will make me explode.
Well, you saw The Green Mile, right?
Yeah, actually, I read that book before that movie ever was even announced. I just happened to be on a Stephen King kick in the 90s.
Yeah, I remember everybody when I was younger was into Stephen King. I never could get into him, but I didn't even know. Yeah, don't get me. Yeah, I'm not into I'm not into horror, I guess. So it's not necessarily Stephen King I have a problem with. It's just it's like the Harry Potter thing. Like I've never read a single Harry Potter book, or
Yeah, I didn't read any of those.
I never saw any of the movies either. Like I just not into wizards and magic. You know, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just not.
I saw the movies, and they're very good but forgettable popcorn flicks. Like
They made a lot of money.
there's like 7 or 8 of them, and there's probably like 3 movies worth of actual shit that goes down.
There's 7 or 8 movies.
Oh yeah, there's a big long. But I mean, you could probably condense it easily into a trilogy and not lose an important beat.
Okay, I didn't realize there was that many. I knew she had a lot of books, but
I think it's one more movie than books, because I think one of the books got split into 2 movies because there's just that much in it, I guess.
yeah, I think she's pretty prolific in her prose, so yeah, that might make sense.
Again,
Also,
I saw all of them, and it's like very little of it sticks in my head. Like I liked it, but it's like there was like a bag of potato chips. It's like that was good, but you don't really remember it.
Right. Well, if there was one, was the first. So, like, let's just say I'm bored one night and have insomnia. Would you recommend I watch the first one?
The first one probably is. I would say watch the first one, and if you like it, you could probably skip ahead to the last one. Because it's like the first one sets up the threat, and the last one pays off the threat, and a whole bunch of other stuff happens in the middle.
Okay. Well, I mean,
it's kind of his continuous, almost like a show, like just kind of his continuous adventures until the big payoff.
Well, the only reason I'm even half interested in watching it is because there's a lot of characters and stuff that have entered like modern nomenclature, and I don't even know what they are when they'll reference a character from Harry Potter, and I don't even know who they're talking about. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So like they'll say he reminds me of, I don't know, name a character, you know, and I'm like, I don't know who you're talking about. Like I don't get
characters are definitely the strength of it compared to like the lore and the story and the plot isn't that special, but the characters are solid and iconic and memorable.
Okay. But yeah, but it's oh, you know what I was going to tell you about this. I don't know if I mentioned this to you before. I discovered a TV series called Babylon Berlin. It's German. So this might turn you off because it's dude, it's fucking great, man. The only challenge with it is it's subtitled. Now, some people that totally turns them off. For me, I can deal with it.
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, but it's so fucking good. It takes place in the interwar periods, you know, in 1929 in Germany, and it totally, because like I'd never seen. I mean, I've seen a lot of movies about that time period, like that a place in America, you know, like you know, prohibition and all this, but I never seen it from like what was going on in Europe. Like Germany is a fucking mess, and it's basically it's a cop. He's the main character is a cop in Berlin during this time period where everything is just going to hell. And it's done. I don't know. I mean, you can look at the reviews. I think the first season got literally 100 out of 100.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really. I think I watched five episodes. The only challenge is you can't binge watch this thing. At least I can't because it's subtitled. You know, that's kind of exhausting. Like when you're reading subtitles, like you watch one episode and you're like, all right, I'm done. I can't watch it. You know,
I very rarely binge watch anything. Like I'll do like 2, maybe 3 episodes of something right before I go to bed. It's generally how I watch something. Like I don't. Something would have to really have me hooked to want me to just binge watch it all afternoon. You know, like that's a rare thing for me. I generally, because again, I grew up in the days of TV where you waited every week for your new episode and stuff. So a lot of these things are dropping the whole season all at once. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll get this done when I get it done. All right, let's calm down.
Well, I remember when True Detective, I don't know if you like True Detective season 1, but I think that was one
I love season 1. Yeah.
Yeah, I binge watched the first 4 hours of it, and I probably and the only reason I didn't watch more was because it was one of the. This was like, I don't know, 11, 12 years ago when that came out, and at the time I had I didn't have HBO, but I had cable, and it was one of those weekends where they were giving you free HBO, you know, trying to get you to sign up, and so I didn't know what, you know, I was just going through it, seeing what's on, and I started and I was hooked like immediately, and I watched like fucking 4 episodes in a row. And then, but unfortunately, then I was going to have to wait a week for the next episode. But I would have kept watching. I stayed up to like 2:30 in the morning. I'd work. I
think when I finally started True Detective, I do think I got that one done in like 2 or 3 days. Like I do think I plowed through that a lot.
Yeah, that was I thought that show was brilliant. I mean, it will
Yeah, True
also
Detective rule.
yeah, that was about as good as you're gonna get from a miniseries, in my opinion. And unfortunately, then you had like the season 2, which
Well,
sucks fucking moose
I
balls.
started season 2, and it's like I didn't even get far enough to say it's bad, but it's like it's so removed from what season 1 is. I guess it takes place in the same world, but there's like no connection at all to the point where I'm like, this is just a whole different show. Like, yeah, it might take place in the same world, but we'll be jack shit. This is a whole different show at this point. So it'd be one thing if they took like maybe a minor character from season 1 and then focused on him, then it would at least feel a little more connected. But it's like you just went to a whole other part of the world and focused on 2 other random detectives. So,
well, I didn't necessarily mind the fact that it wasn't connected, because I get that, because the point of the miniseries was 8 episodes. That's supposed to be a complete arc.
Well, I didn't get far enough in to comment on the quality. I was like, yeah, I'll watch the rest of this later, and then like later it never came.
Yeah, but the casting was all wrong. Like and they were all quality actors, but I was like, dude, I would have switched around who played what role. Like, I'm trying to remember the guy's name that played like the bad guy, and then was it Colin Farrell played the cop, and like it didn't work, man. I was like, man,
Colin Farrell's generally better as a shitbag.
Yeah, like they made him a cop, and and also the female, like the wife or the girlfriend of the mobster guy, like she's a fine actress. She's on that show Yellowstone, or she used to be on that show Yellowstone. Like she's a fine actress and all, but it was like she just didn't work for me. I don't know. I was like, everything about this is just wrong, man.
Yeah, I didn't get far enough into it. I think I started episode 1 and I was like, it's a whole different thing. Maybe I'll watch it later. And I just never got back to it.
Yeah, it's forgettable. I think I watched all of it just because I was just, like you're hoping it'll get better because you enjoyed the season 1 so much. You're thinking like, oh, maybe it'll get better. And then it never does, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I've found that there's almost 2 kinds of shows, like 99% of shows fall into this. They either have a weak season 1 where they're finding their footing and then they get really good, or they are just firing at all cylinders on season 1 and a massive drop off on season 2. I find so many shows fall into that.
Yeah, that does happen a lot. I think it's a lot of times it's because the writers changed a lot. Because I remember mentioning that to a buddy of mine, and we were talking about some TV series, and I was talking about how this season sucks, and he goes, "Do you know why?" And I was like, "No, why?" He goes, "That was during the writers' strike."
Oh, yeah, that probably happens a lot.
And
there's more of those than people realize. Like writers' strikes seem to happen more often than people get, and they don't get a lot of coverage.
Yeah, and apparently, like it totally upends everything, right? And it fucks up the actors too, right? Because they're kind of finding their rhythm with the script, and all of a sudden you come in and you bring in new writers, and they change, the beat of it, and the actors are kind of, you know what I mean? Like you can just tell, like it's not quite working because they're feeling these lines are not genuine or not. Yeah, I don't know, like that kind of a thing. You can tell, like, I mean, someone who's like really big into cinema or whatever, they can tell this shit.
Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of shows that sometimes they start strong and then completely fall off. Or a lot of shows I like have very weak season 1s where everything's just sort of finding its rhythm. Comedies especially. Comedies really have a hard time with season 1s, I find. Like some of the most beloved comedy shows have really terrible season 1s.
Yeah, because the writers haven't fully fleshed. Also, like the idiosyncrasies of the characters, we don't really know about yet. Like, I think that's one of the reasons I really liked Frasier, that sitcom, was because Frasier was already established. Like we knew about him from Cheers, so his character was, he was like this pretentious psychiatrist. So we already knew that about him. So like that's one of my favorite sitcoms of all time.
Yeah, Frasier rules.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that show. Maybe it went on a few too many seasons, but I really liked it. But like you're right, a lot. Well, all right. Here's a classic example of a series that for the first 2 seasons sucked balls, but we're not a comedy. Was Star Trek TNG. First 2 fucking seasons.
Oh God, season 1 of TNG. up until that reboot in 09, I would have considered season 1 TNG the single lowest point of the franchise. It's that bad. Like, I think the pilot is okay, and I think that episode Conspiracy with the little bugs that like took over the admirals and shit.
Oh yeah,
I think those are the only 2 good episodes from season 1. The rest of it is borderline unwatchable.
Yeah, I literally.
And season 2 is still really rough, but it's got a few real gems, like Measure of a Man, and I kind of have a soft spot for the tar monster killing Tasha Yar just because it's such.
Only because we know what really happened, like in real life, that guy nearly died.
It just feels so classic TV sci-fi where it's like, we need a monster. Okay, and throw this sheet over this dude. We'll soak it with tar. He can be the tar monster. Well, what does the tar monster do? He has mind bullets. Like, it just feels so. I just have such a soft spot for it. It's just classic campy sci-fi that I can't hate it despite its flaws.
Well, also, which was it season 1 or 2 when the Ferengis had like the whips? Was that season 1 or
season 2? 1, I believe, yes.
Yeah, when the Ferengis had these like weird whips, and then I think it was you who told me a story that Gene Roddenberry wanted to have them, instead of big ears, he wanted them to have like giant cocks.
Yeah, want to have them big giant cocks.
And I was like, well, this is like a kid's show. How are you going to get, he was a weirdo.
And the first time I heard that, I thought, okay, a lot of times when writers are coming up with like the Bible of a show or whatever you call it, they will create all this backstory and not all of it gets referenced. They just want things to be consistent as they go forward. A lot of shows will do that, especially sci-fi. So when I first heard that, I thought they were meant like Gene like dropped this giant like 9-page script on the Ferengis, and that was just one little thing that was in there. And it's like, no, that was Gene's first and foremost thing is I want him to have giant cocks.
Yeah, I think Gene Roddenberry was kind of a weird guy.
Well, Gene's the reason the actress that played Beverly isn't in season 2. Because
you told me about this. There was some weird
they fought bitterly, and then the fans just wanted Beverly back, and that's why because like in the show, there's never an explanation given for why Beverly left or came back or what happened to Dr. Pulaski.
Yeah, I think I remember asking you about that. Like I asked
we
you
never
to
see
what,
in the show, like, oh, goodbye, Dr. Pulaski. I'm getting transferred to the so-and-so. And, oh, Beverly's
I'm going
back.
to
That's
Starbase
nice.
123,
Never comes up again. Just never comes up again.
Yeah, that was, so it wasn't a fight over money, was it? Or was there some sexual harassment or was
she just really thought Gene was a sexist piece of shit. And Gene thought she was a horrible bitch who was terrible to work with. And I mean, probably both ways.
Oh, no, I don't know anything about
If I had to guess, I wasn't there. But but if I had to put money down, I'd say we're probably both right.
Well, I know that Gene Rod, like in the 1960s version, the original series, I know that Gene was really big on the casting couch.
Yes.
The women roles on so he was a bit of a deviant, but I mean, years later in the 90s, I don't know, what, I mean, I know he was old by the time TNG, was airing, because I think he had been a cop before he even became a screenwriter.
I mean, heard that, but
yeah, someone would have to look. I remember seeing a documentary like many, many years ago, but
yeah, for as bad as season 2 is, I will always defend Measure of a Man, because that's just top. That's the one where like they had the trial to see if Data has rights.
Oh yeah, that was actually pretty good.
And the only nitpick I would have is it really feels like this is an issue that should have been resolved before he was allowed to go through training and become an officer. But whatever. Maybe bureaucrats just didn't get to it. But that said, though, it's classic sci-fi. It's everything sci-fi should be. I always say, like, if somebody wants to give TNG a shot, I always say, like, watch Measure of a Man and watch the first episode with the Borg. Q who? Where the Q just sends them to the other side of the galaxy and they first meet the Borg. I'm like, if those 2 episodes don't do it for you, then the show's probably not for you.
Yeah, the thing about the Borg, I'm thinking about that episode. That was good because it introduced Q. What's that guy's name? Delancey?
Well, Q had been there since the pilot,
Yeah, he's there in the
but it
pilot.
really fleshed Q out a lot more in that episode.
Right. And because, and I kind of like the way Star Trek handled the Q is like they're never fully explained. I mean, of course, Voyager kind of fucked it up, but Voyager fucked everything up. And but what I liked about the Borg in the TNG was the Borg were legitimately like a true existential threat to like, literally this, with a single cube, they could theoretically destroy the entire Federation. And then Voyager came out and made the Borg tame. Like
I really wish, and it was just the nature of TV at the time that we had such an episodic thing. But like Deep Space Nine with the Dominion War, we had this big, season-long arc of the Dominion War just constantly building on itself. I always look back and wish that they could have actually done that with the Borg, where it would have been this giant existential threat to like the entire quadrant, where like literally every sapient race has to put differences aside because like there's just nothing else matters. You know what I mean? Like if you're Ferengi, like what profit is there in a Borg cube? You know what I mean? Like there's no honor in assimilation for the Klingons. There's no profit in assimilation for the Ferengi. Like everybody's got to work together, and everybody's on the ropes, and every single hard fought victory makes the next wave of these drones stronger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know what the reason they didn't do that?
Well, yeah, because you would have had to do it. First of all, budget, but also... Well,
that wasn't the reason. Gene Roddenberry didn't want... That's why there's such a difference between DS9, because when DS9 came in, Gene Roddenberry was dead, or if not dead, he was no longer part of the... he was like retired. Was Gene Roddenberry never wanted Star Trek to be like a militaristic show. So that was why, like they would have they had the 2-part episode with the Borg, but for the most part, he wanted the Federation to be all about, exploration and, all that, because it has I think you said it, like the difference between TNG and DS9 is you said like DS9 is TNG without its head stuffed so far up its ass, like, fart sniffing, how because like in real life, if we had holograms, like you made this joke once years ago, is like people would just sit around fucking eating cookie dough all day and just playing in the fucking house.
It would be. Well, I think that's what everyone on Earth is doing. I think all the ambitious people get on starships and wander the galaxy, and most of the normie folks on Earth are just eating replicated cookie dough and beating off to holodeck porn.
Yeah, I don't think in a holodeck, I don't even think you have to beat off. I think you can actually.
Well, I guess beating off isn't even the term. You just fucking hologram.
It's like you're just fucking like 3-dimensional AIs,
It's the old joke, like you got to be the ensign who's got to hose all the jizz off the holodeck.
That would really be a funny what a little cartoon where the guy's going into the guy goes going into the holodeck with like a bucket and a mop, and
just a big garden hose. He's just
and he's like the guy, and like another guy's looking at him. He goes, "Oh, Ferengis again," or like some shit like that. Like
just hosing down the jizz off the holodeck. You're like, they told me this was a promotion. You're just the jizz mopper of the holodeck.
Yeah, that would be pretty low. You're on a starship. You're traveling all over the galaxy, and but you're reduced to cleaning jizz up with a fucking mop.
It's like, you fuck the hologram chick and then you turn the program off and it's like it disappears, but then the jizz off.
Well, yeah. But yeah, I mean, oh my God.
I liked in the Orville how they just kind of acknowledged that, like a lot of people are using the holodeck for porn.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, no, because it's such an obvious thing, right? Like, I remember I was like a kid when Star Trek came out, TNG, and I remember thinking, shit, man, if I had that fucking hologram or holosuite or whatever, I was, all sorts of deviancy would be going on.
There's an episode of the Orville where one crew member had gotten like some porn program off of some shady dealer, and he put it in the holodeck, and it put like a whole computer virus in the ship. And like later, it cuts to like the captain yelling at him, and he's just in the captain's office, and he's like, "I feel." He's just because he's some like warrior alien. He's like, he goes, "I am overwhelmed with shame."
Well, yeah, because everybody found out his fucking sexual deviancies, right? So
I can't even remember where it was. Like it came up in this other meeting where they're talking about the virus. And he's like, "I am overwhelmed and ashamed." And the captain's like, "Yeah, that's a conversation we're gonna have later, Bortus. And believe me, neither one of us is gonna enjoy it."
Oh yeah, that's pretty funny. That was good. I never got into the Orville. I've seen certain clips of it that were funny, like the one with what's his name, McDonald. Was it Norm Macdonald?
Oh yeah, is the little blob guy?
Yeah, like well, he can. I mean, the thing about Norm was he could not be funny. Like,
God, Norm was so great. In
that guy was like a comedic genius. Like he just, And another thing I liked about him, like everybody knows the scene in The View, which is classic. Like you guys, but he would do that like similar kind of shit. Like I remember there was a scene where he was on Conan O'Brien. And like, he was like the first guest. You know, like this is when there's a second guest shows up, the first guest is supposed to just shut up and like let the second guest plug their movie or their show.
Yeah, he was tormenting that poor girl from Melrose Place.
Yes, that was hysterical, man. It was on Conan O'Brien, and he just fucking tore. But it was so funny, and like he just didn't give a shit that he was just it was just classic. I can't remember what her name was.
Norm was just a fucking menace.
Yeah, but he was so good, though. Oh my
God, he was a genius. He was just legitimately a genius. The Orville's really good. The Orville starts off leaning too much into the parody, which I think was a lot of network interference, really. But by the end of season 1, it really finds its footing and it gets very good towards the end. Like it ironically becomes some of the best Star Trek ever. Towards the end.
How many seasons did it last?
I think it's 3. But the third season, or maybe it was the 4th, I forget. But the last season was exclusive to Hulu. So a lot of these episodes have really weird run times because you're not bound by like a schedule when you're on streaming.
Okay. But did it make it feel uneven or was it still okay?
No, it just gave it more time for a lot because it was towards the end of the season when there's a lot of epic battles and a lot going on. And it just felt like it really felt like if they'd have tried to push all that into like a regular show schedule, it would have felt cramped.
Okay, well, so that worked.
Because there's like a race of like sentient robots that there's one in the crew, but then later the race wants to destroy all organic life, and then there's a race of like space Muslims, for lack of a better term. Like they have a super fanatical religion, and basically think all other life forms don't have souls, so fuck them. So the not the Federation, but whatever the Orville Federation is, it's called something else. But they're sort of wedged between these, and they almost kind of go back and forth between like siding with one against the other.
Well, is it still comedic or is it?
No, well, I mean it is, but it drops the comedy a lot in favor of being a real show, but it still keeps a comedic edge to it. There's a lot of working man humor involved in it that I really like. Like it's just a job to a lot of these guys. So there's this just kind of almost punching the clock humor to everything that really works. Like early on, and it's one of the better jokes, but it's like, when the captain's like, got all the bridge crew and he's introducing himself, he's the new captain of the ship. The one guy that like the pilot basically is like, "Hey, can we still have sodas on the bridge?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, I guess if you don't spill anything, that's fine." And then there's like this tense, hailing some enemy fucking warship or something. And they just cut to the guy and he's like, pulls up his soda and he's like drinking it from a straw. But it's like, it's funny, but it's also just so human. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, the dude wants a soda at work.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I'm asking, because I think I watched the first episode and like you said, I know they're trying to find themselves in the beginning, but it was like that. It just couldn't seem to make up its mind what it wanted to be, a comedy or,
It leans too much into the comedy early on, but it just becomes a show. It becomes real Star Trek, but with just a little less autistic about it.
Yeah, I get it. Maybe I'll give it another watch. I mean, there's just so much stuff out right now that I've, not that it's new, it's just stuff I haven't seen, like like Babylon Berlin, for example, and I'm recently having.
Oh yeah, I'm notorious for that. I end up starting a show and I really like it, and I get distracted by another show because there just are so many options.
Yeah, I mean, but there are so many options. But let's be honest. I mean, 99% of the stuff's out there sucks. Like I was talking to a buddy of mine earlier. He had mentioned like Star Trek Discovery. I made it like through like half of the first
Oh,
episode.
Discovery's garbage.
I was like, I can't fucking watch this.
All of that new Trek is garbage. Ironically enough, the only one that's halfway decent is the fucking cartoon Lower Decks. That's kind of almost a parody of Star Trek. And
I couldn't get into that. Maybe
it's not great, but it actually feels like the people writing it know shit about Star Trek. You know what I mean? Like it felt like a parody to me that like came from a place of love. I will say this though, when I finally watched it, I watched all of it and I was like, oh, that was good. And I actually started watching it right as the last season happened, so I was kind of like catching up right as the last few episodes dropped. I was like, oh, that was good. And then I realized like a few months later that I really remembered fuck all about it. And like I remembered some gags and stuff and some set pieces, but the characters and plots just never stuck with me. And I sort of liken it to like, I don't know, a roller coaster ride or a bag of chips or something where it's like really entertaining in the moment, but there's no real substance, which is way more than you could say about like Discovery, by the way, because Discovery is just terrible in the moment.
Well, did you? Well, actually, I only watched like the maybe 3/4.
I tried to get through like I got about halfway through the first season of Discovery, and I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, no, because it was like you just at a certain point, it's like you're taking a beloved piece of my childhood and just fucking it in the ass in front of me. And after a while, I'm like, I just don't want to see this anymore.
Yeah, I was just,
but yeah, I found that like with Lower Decks, there was just no substance to it. It was because I mean, stuff like the other Trek shows, like those have characters and moments and plots. It'll just stick with me till the day I die, and hell, even the Orville that I watched as an adult had similar things. It'll just stick with me forever. And then it's like, Lower Decks made me laugh, and then I forgot about it.
Yeah, it's like comparing candy to an actual good meal. Like,
it's like, it was a good Jolly Rancher, but it wasn't satisfying.
Just when you're talking about characters that you'll remember, my favorite I don't want to say it because it's something, but I think my favorite character in the Star Trek universe is Garak from DS9.
I like Garak a lot. Yes.
Yeah, I got a kick out of his character, like that like the way he would just go, like there was this one scene where he was talking to Odo, and he was saying that, oh yes, I used to work as a gardener at this so and so guy, and I was like, if I recall, wasn't he poisoned by some exotic flower? And the Garak's like, I heard that. Yes, like it was like the way he used to deliver those lines.
There's a scene with Garak I really like where they're in some Cardassian or not, they're in some Dominion prison, and there's a whole bunch of people that like shapeshifters had replaced and shit. And Garak is like trying to like sabotage it. He's like getting into some crawl space and trying to sabotage something, but he's got like this claustrophobia, so it's like freaking him out being in there. And he gets like the job done, and he comes out, and the one Klingon, I think it was the one guy that like was missing an eye or something, recurring character. He like pats the dude on the back, and he's like, he said something to the lines of like, there's no greater bravery than facing your own demons. And it's like it's just this good little moment where he like earned this Klingon's respect.
Yeah.
But just. I actually like that little, like, I think it was one, maybe two episodes where a bunch of them were in that Dominion prison, because when they get there, like, I think Worf and Garak get captured, and they're in there, and they see Bashir's in there, and they're like, how long have you been here? He's like, I don't know, a month or so. And it's like, you were on the station when we left.
Oh, yeah, he was replaced.
And he's like, oh, yeah, that's troubling. That's troubling. And that's when they realized, like, half of these guys had just been replaced by changelings.
Yeah, and there was even a Breen guy in there.
Oh yeah, the Breen.
Yeah, that
one person said like never turn your back on the Breen.
That's right. Yeah, well, that would explain why the Breen joined the Dominion, right? Because they're one of their assume it. I mean, they never really tell you much about the Breen other than they have this really annoying voice. That's really all
we never even get like I've even heard like in the shows conflicting things over whether the Breen are one species or not, because they're always wearing that same fucking armor. So, like, some people have speculated it's like a coalition of a couple different species.
Yeah, they never tell you. Well, you do know that the only thing that they tell you is that they do have a home world. Like there is a home world. I think it's literally called Marine. But I don't know if they did this on purpose or that it was just a time constraint. They never elaborated on them. You don't know anything about them. You know that they're an advanced race, but you don't know anything about what their politics are, or do they have an empire? Or are they just living on their planet? You know what I mean? Like, the way the other, like
There's
the way
a
the
there's an
yeah.
alien race that are referenced. I know they appeared in the original series at one point, and they appeared in Enterprise, and we never see much of them because like they come from basically a planet that's like Mercury or Venus, where it's just like crazy hot, and they're basically like lava people. So like we never get to know them much because like you can't ever even really be in the same fucking room with them. You know what I mean? And I just like the idea that there's like sentient races, but they're used to such completely different environments that we can't even really, you know, stand face to face ever. We'll always be at arm's length to these people.
Yeah, they're not like humanoid, right? Like they don't they
Well,
don't have two arms and two legs.
I mean, even if they were humanoid, I mean, the fact that they're lava people, you know what I mean? They can't be in the same room as us. If they, if they need the temperature at least 1,000 degrees,
Yeah.
and
it makes
we
things
just
kind of
don't-
difficult.
We don't get down with that,
Yeah.
But I like the idea that there just would be limits to how much you even could, even if all parties being good natured, how much you even could get to know each other.
Yeah, there are some like legitimate. I don't even want to use the word logistical, but just practical constraints about if someone needs to be at 1,000 degrees. Well, I mean, I don't know where how you'd exactly set that up. You can't exactly break bread with people like that.
Even if it was just like minor differences, I almost wish it came up in the show more. Where like some people were like, "It's too dry in here," or "It's too humid," or "It's," like even just being a little bit off, people would be like, "Oh,
No,
come on,
there's
man,
actually
turn it down a little bit." No,
there are,
dude, I'm freezing to death here.
there are scenes about that where like the Cardassians like things really hot. Like as I remember, there's been scenes where they talk about that. Like the Cardassians want the temperature really high.
Weren't the Cardassians cold blooded? Didn't they say that at some point that they're basically lizards?
They probably were just referring to them as as an insult, but no, they could.
I thought at one point they actually said they were reptilian, which they look reptilian. Like as soon as I heard that, I'm like, yeah, they do kind of look like lizard people.
Well, I don't know about. They may have said that, but I do know there have been several references about Cardassians liking it. Liking their quarters hot. Like if they're not on a if they're not on Cardassia, you know what I mean? Like, because apparently Cardassia it's naturally warm, But one thing I just want to say is I think the best, it certainly was the best acting in all of Star Trek, probably across all different platforms of it, was Patrick Stewart's There Are Four Lights. His acting, and regardless of what you think about that specific episode, his acting was truly brilliant in that. I mean, he really hit it out of the park. I mean, he really did.
Stewart's an amazing actor. He really, in many regards, he carried that show. And I mean, it had a lot of great actors, but he really was. In what is meant to be an ensemble show, he really is the star of that show.
I don't know if I ever told you this, but I remember he used to do you like A Christmas Carol, right? I think you prefer.
Yeah, he did a version of Christmas Carol.
Yeah, no, but what you don't know is he used to do every year in New York City. He did this for like 5 or 6 years. He used to do a one-man show of A Christmas Carol.
I've seen some clips of that on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, he did the whole fucking play, just one man. I mean, he's like a fucking. I mean, that's pretty impressive in my book.
I can't find it anymore, and it's so lost to me. I'm starting to wonder if I fucking imagined it. But I swear, back in the 2000s, like late 2000s, like early YouTube time, there was a clip floating around where like he was at a Comic-Con, somebody was getting him to sign stuff, and he called the dude's friend because it was like my buddy wouldn't call off work to come to the Comic-Con, and Patrick Stewart like literally like calls him on his phone. And it's like, "This is Patrick Stewart. I heard you're too much of a pansy to call off work."
I think you told me this story.
I heard that. I remember that voice clip floating around the internet. And I just cannot fucking find it anymore. Now I'm wondering if it's some Mandela effect. If that's if it's from the fucking universe I originated from or something. Because now I can't find it anywhere. But I swear I remember. And that feels like a thing he would do.
Yeah.
Because he has a good sense of humor. I could 100% see him doing that. Like, here, just give me your phone. Like, call him up. Hey, this is Patrick Stewart. I hear you're too much of a pansy to call up.
Imagine hearing that, like, that Shakespearean English voice on the
Imagine going on your break and your buddy's already been busting your balls, and now Captain Picard is like, "Why did you call off work, you pansy?"
Yeah, what would you say? What would your answer be?
I'd just been like, "I should have called off."
Yeah, no, he was. I remember watching a YouTube video of one of the, the cons type things you're talking about, and they had Wesley Crusher. I don't know if Patrick Stewart was even there, but Wesley Crusher was, and some of the other cast members. And he was talking about how and he did like in the perfect Patrick Stewart voice. He's, just imagine him saying this because I can't even try to do the impression of Patrick Stewart, where he says, Wesley, there was a time when young ensigns were expected to perform certain duties for their captain.
Holy shit.
Hey, Liam.
Yeah. Did you ever see the episode of SNL he hosted?
No, I didn't even know he hosted SNL.
He hosted one episode of SNL. And the one skit that really stands out is like the guy comes into this like bakery where they make erotic cakes, right? And the joke is that like every one of the cakes is a lady going to the bathroom. And the guy's trying to be like, "You got anything else?" And like Patrick Stewart's like, "Why?"
That's weird, man. I don't even know if
it's
that's
so funny, but it's just one of those things that it's like it's carried by the fact that it's Patrick Stewart. Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, if anyone else did it wouldn't work, right? I mean, it was only.
Well, that's the thing. Like he does a lot of this on American Dad because he's a regular voice actor on that show, and he'll just say the most bizarre, fucked up things, and it's like it's so much funnier because Patrick Stewart just said that. Like he's the director of the CIA at American Dad, right? And there's an episode where they have to blow through the remainder of their budget so they don't get a budget cut. So they literally just go to a strip club, right? And just start blowing the rest of it. And like Stan's all like, the main guy's like, "I'm married. I'm not comfortable being here." And Patrick Stewart's character is like, "Do you think I want to be here? This is for the love of our country, damn it." And he turns to this stripper and he's handing her like just this wad of cash. And he goes, "Will you strangle me while I brush your hair?"
I have to check that. I never even knew
say that is fucking amazing.
I'll be right back, guys. Liam, carry for me. I'll be back in a sec.
Oh, Liam, what's up?
Hey, not much, man. Just chilling out. You talk about Orville. I still haven't seen the 4th season of Orville or the final season of Orville. But
dude,
like,
it's so good. It's such a good final season.
Oh, that's good to hear. Because we get so much garbage. It's so much crap.
It's a shame He-Man didn't do well in the box office. I know Amazon's sticking behind it. Like Amazon has flat out been said, like, look, we see franchise potential, we see merchandising potential. We're sticking behind this, which is nice to see because I mean it was so good. And I'd like to see more of it.
What can you do besides yelling at these guys in the chat to go watch it in the theaters? Please.
I don't know, man. Everybody, all the Zoomers wanted to go see the Empty Hallway movie, I guess. And then all the Boomers wanted to go see Steven Spielberg's latest pretentious fucking garbage.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. But yeah, you should probably see He-Man.
Yeah. Oh, goodness gracious. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it, and I it was such a magical memory. And like, I guess even if it doesn't get a sequel, I'll always have that magic memory with my little girl.
I'm happy with what we got. I mean, like, I'm so spoiled with franchises anymore that part of me wants to be like, yeah, where's the next 50 movies? But also, I got a really good one, so it's like I'm happy with it.
Yeah. It'd be nice to have another one with one more, just a sequel to Hordak, and because I'd like to see the tone of it based on the end of the movie. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like. Because that way you can have like Etheria be all the dark place and you can have Eternia be all bright. So like instead of like having to go through like they did where it's sort of like everything was underground and inside and all dark and gloomy for the action scenes, we can have like bright out in the open action scenes where we can actually see everything that's going on better, which would be nice. But and then have the dark final gloomy
It has
battles.
definitely sparked more interest in He-Man. I mean, I see on Japanese Twitter of all things, the Japanese have discovered He-Man and they love him. I'm seeing a whole bunch of people like, I want more He-Man on Japanese Twitter. I love that Twitter auto-translates stuff too. That's so nice. At least I have it on my settings. I just see tweets of other languages just in English right away. It's like I got the Star Trek Universal Translator on my Twitter.
Yeah.
Wait, do you have to be a blue check mark to get that? Because I don't have that.
I'm not a blue check mark, but it auto translates on mine, so I think it's just in the settings.
All right, I'll have to go.
I'll be back in a second. Hold on.
Sometimes if people like retweet something, it won't auto translate until I click on if they quote tweet it, it won't auto translate until I click on the tweet they're quote tweeting, and then it will. So there have been times when it doesn't do it automatically, but even if it doesn't do it automatically, I always have the little translate button right there.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
A lot of times I don't even realize.
But
a lot of times I don't even realize somebody's posting in another language until I see that it's like, oh, this is the translation.
Oh, so it does a good job. Well, I guess like the AIs now are like so much improved, but like sometimes like if you like, do you remember Google Translate when that first came out?
Yeah, some of the early translators were not working really well.
I mean, it would be fine to do like maybe English to Spanish or something more or less, but if you tried any like I remember like trying it like Russian, and I was like, dude, I don't know what the fuck you're saying.
There's a line in Star Trek Enterprise because they didn't have like the really good universal translator yet, so a lot of it had to be manually translated. And I don't remember exactly what was happening. Oh shit! Getting a thunderstorm warning there. But like they were fighting with some ship, and it's like hailing them, and the translator lady was like, he said something about your maternal grandmother, and the captain's like, I think I got the gist.
That's actually a good line. I like that.
It's like, yeah, I think I get him.
Was that the Vulcan chick that was the translator woman?
No, I think it was the Asian chick. The Vulcan chick was like the second in command.
Yeah.
But she was there from the Vulcan government because at that point there was no like real federation yet. So the human government and Vulcan government were very separate at that point.
Yeah. Hold on a second, because it's been a long time because I didn't watch the whole arc of it. But I remember Enterprise because I was kind of excited about it because I did enjoy. I can't remember the guy's name. It was like Beglov or something.
Yeah, he's pretty good in it.
Yeah, he was good in it. But I remember, I don't know if you ever watched that show, Quantum Leap.
My dad used to watch that a lot when I was little. Yeah,
and it's not like a great show, but it kind of grows on you. And the reason it's good is because each episode is so completely different. I mean, like the main characters are always the same, but anyway.
Did you see the final, John? Like, did
yes,
you see how?
I did. Yeah, the final was great.
God sending him all over the universe and shit, all time and space.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. Like God was. It turns out that that actor. You know, what's funny? The actor that played God is actually the same actor that played D-Day in Animal House. You remember? I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I had not seen the finale. I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, so the finale is he's in a bar in like a Pennsylvania mining town. And I haven't seen it in it's like 35 years ago, maybe more. But the bartender is like giving him, and the guy's like, you know, he's Bakula's character is like, you seem pretty insightful. And he goes, well, bartenders have to be. And you realize the bartender was a stand-in for God.
There was a joke somebody made during the Biden administration. I think it was the Revenge of the Sith guys, but like, how come Joe Biden always looks like fucking Scott Bakula just leapt into him?
I don't get it.
He just confused, doesn't know where he is.
Okay.
It's all of a sudden like, oh boy.
Oh no, but that's what I was going to ask about. You're going to explain. So, if memory serves, like in the first season, or maybe it was just the first episode or two, isn't there something like the Vulcans were trying to prevent the humans from going into space? Like they had been. Well, like not sabotaging them per se, but
they were spying on them. There was a big arc about that, and then they were just not sharing tech at all with them. And there was a line, I think it's actually towards the end, because it's a big through line through the whole show, where the guy's talking to the Vulcan ambassador, and he goes like, you sound like you're afraid of us. And he goes, and the Vulcan's kind of quiet, and he goes, He said something like, he goes, "We don't understand you. One minute you're as logical as us, the next minute you're raging like a savage Klingon." And then he brought up some other point. He goes, "We had our big cataclysmic war, and that's where we adopted our stoicism bullshit." And he goes, "But that took us like 1,000 years to go from that point to building back up to being spacefaring." And he goes, "And you guys had World War III, and like 30 years later, you're like out in the stars." He goes, "We're kind of afraid of you." Like,
well, he would never say afraid, right? Because Vulcans.
But yeah, he was. I think the guy says to him, like, "Are you afraid of us?" And he just is like quiet, like staring at him. So it's like implied.
We're
It's
concerned.
sort of like,
we're concerned.
Yeah, we're concerned. Like you're accelerating a lot faster than we would have anticipated, and we don't exactly know what to do about that.
Yeah, so there was. I mean, so this is a long time ago. I just remember
you're way more unpredictable than us.
Yeah, and the Vulcans are not used to, like the way the Vulcans are portrayed in it. They're not down with that.
Yeah, there's a whole scene. I think it's early on, but like there's a Vulcan ship that's just been like hovering around him for a while, and he invites the guy on to like have dinner, and it's like really tense, and like they're trying to make small talk, and he's like, "Yeah, how fast your ship go?" And it's it does something. He goes, "Boy, I'd love to see those specs." And he goes, "Our ships are classified." And he's like, "Yeah." And it's like the engineer's just trying to make small talk, like just trying to compliment your fucking ship. And he's like, "Yeah." And then there comes a point where the captain gets up and he goes, "Well, I'm not going to waste any more of your time. I just got one more question. How the hell long do you intend to spy on us?"
I might have to give that another visit, at least the first season.
Well, I didn't like it that much at first, and I think part of the reason I didn't like it, and I actually sometimes wonder if it damaged the franchise this way, is there's something so quintessential about looking forward in Star Trek that it almost feels like a mistake to do a prequel, especially when you're not doing like a regular show. Because remember, like DS9 and Voyager ended, and then there's nothing after that. There's just Enterprise. And after Enterprise, what do we get? We get a reboot with J.J. Abrams. It sucks. And then we get a bunch of other shows on Paramount Plus that are either woke garbage or they're just member berries. Like, yeah, we need a Captain Pike show. It's like, we very much do not. But so I often wonder if just the very nature of doing a prequel was kind of a mistake. All that said, though, when I did finally sit down and watch it on streaming, like really watch it all through it, I'm like, this is pretty damn good. It does sort of suffer. British James has pointed this out before. Like around season 2 is about when 9/11 hits America. And you could tell the writing gets a lot darker and a lot less optimistic all of a sudden.
Yeah.
There's even like a big quote sort of 9/11 like event where like Florida is nearly wiped off the map by some alien attack or something.
Star Trek is hope, innovation, intelligence, and diplomacy as a show, and like those are themes that are not very common on television anymore.
No,
especially combining them all. Like we just don't have that tone of entertainment anymore.
There's something I saw on Twitter. It was shared. It's the scene where like Riker and Picard are off the Enterprise for some reason, and Data and Worf are now the first and second in command. And Data chides Worf for being like a terrible first officer.
Yeah, that was I remember that scene.
And Worf's like, "You know what? You're right, man. My bad." And everybody's mature and adult about it, and we're still buddies. And somebody shared that on Twitter and go, this show, he goes, "Forget all the science fiction. This show gave me an unrealistic expectations of how adults would function in a workplace."
No, I remember that scene because like Worf wanted Data to be more aggressive or something, like and Data like finally agrees to shoot something, and like Worf's like, yeah, Worf's like his first officer, and Worf says something like, "Finally," and then Data says, "Lieutenant, may I see you in my ready room?"
Yeah,
and then
Somebody described that once, and they go, "The thing about Star Trek is sometimes it feels like quote competency porn." Like it's just
Yeah.
it's
No,
just so,
it's
so
true.
much,
They-
so
yeah.
many like functional adults being competent and mature about everything. And you get out in the real world, it's like it's not how it happened. You know, the one thing I thought was weird in Enterprise when there's that big like terrorist event that destroys Florida, is they cut to in Alabama. There's a bunch of Ferengis dancing, and I don't really know.
No,
what
they
that
wasn't.
was.
You stupid fuck. They
It's
almost
weird
slipped
because
that one
like
by me. Almost.
it's weird because canonically we hadn't met the Ferengi yet, so I don't know what I was watching. I'm like, what did they mean by that?
Yeah, that would be good for someone to do, like make an AI clip of that.
It's still a mystery we haven't solved in canon yet. I don't know.
Yeah, the Ferengis dancing. Yeah, the dancing Ferengis. Yeah, watching 9/11.
remember when they attacked the USS Liberty? The
What,
Starship
that
USS
was?
Liberty.
Did you
That's
see
what
the
I
thing
meant.
about that on? I'm not sure why the USS Liberty is back on the news. Maybe it's an anniversary or something. But there was a clip about the guy, like Ben Shapiro was talking, and this guy like totally said, because I don't know how much you guys know about the USS Liberty, but it obviously was not mistaken identity.
No, it was not.
I mean, it was totally
And
not.
yeah, Massey, because he's a lame duck congressman now, decided on my way out the door on the anniversary, I'm gonna read it loud the names of all the victims and just start spouting out all the facts about this. So that was pretty cool.
Okay, so that's why it was in the news, because Massey just read it on.
Yeah,
the
and
House floor.
it was the anniversary of it. So and Massey again,
Okay,
burned shit down on his way out a little bit.
good, because no, I mean,
yeah,
I was,
by all means, buddy. Oh man.
Anyway, guys, I got to cut out.
All right. Well,
But thanks for having me on.
no problem, man. Thanks for
Take
tagging.
care.
Good talking, man. Sorry I couldn't chat more. Anyway, Chris. Yeah, no, it's always fun talking nerd stuff.
Yep. I guess I'll wrap up the show too. Actually, we've been going on for a while. Let me just check see if I got any Streamlabs tips because I don't often. But if I don't check, that'll be the day I get it, and somebody will be mad about it.
Yeah, it's true. Blue Team
We'll
says,
be like, I sent you $800 and you didn't even read it. That'll be the one day I don't check, and then they'll charge it back before I get a chance to read it.
for your next show.
I'm like, no, I'm sorry. All right.
Yeah, I got struck last night for I got $100 super chat, and that made people so angry that they struck my channel for self-harm. And the self-harm was that I said, I'm pretty stressed about this. I'm not going to eat anything tonight. Thanks, hon, when Chen offered me dinner. And it was for eating disorders. And so I was struck yesterday.
Well, as we all know, Liam is very anorexic. He's practically.
Yeah, I know. I got hit for fucking having an eating disorder, and they reversed it immediately. I'm guessing Susan at YouTube looked at me, saw I was 400 pounds, and went, "Yeah, I think he's all right."
He has the opposite eating disorder. I don't know what you're talking about. He could use a little eating disorder, couldn't we all? Here in America, we could all use a little more anorexia.
That's right.
Just a little bit more.
Just a little bit more. It might save America.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Liam, thanks as always for hopping on. John Steele, thanks for being on. If you enjoy the show, folks, streamlabs.com/Beglov, paypal.me/thebeglov. I should probably sign off soon because it is thundering like crazy out there. And I might lose the damn internet here soon. Okay, go. And Amazon wishlist down below if you want to buy me some dumb shit that I like. That would be awesome too, folks. We'll be back Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Be there or be nowhere. That's it for tonight, folks. Beglov out.